Good evening, it's 12 minutes past 9 on this Tuesday, the 6th of August. And I'm Eugene Lowe. This is a special National Day Week series of Singapore stories on CNA938, where I speak to Singaporeans about their Singapore stories and get them to wax lyrical about our island nation. And today we have Anil David, 51, who is an ex-offender who worked in a call center during his incarceration. And when he was released in 2012, he founded Agape Connecting People, now a leading outsourced contact center services company. Now, this was Anil's way of honoring his family, an act of redemption to earn back his family's trust, and his story will be featured in a video as part of the final act of this year's NDP as well. So you might have seen him if you've been to, the rehearsals and the preview. Anil, thanks for joining us here on Singapore Stories.
For having me here.
Now let's talk about your time, right? You've done time. How long were you in there?
Well, the last sentence that I did, I served 8 years. That was a long time, and it was a long period of time, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
Yes. And during that time, how did you come to work in a call center?
At the time I was doing my sentence for 8 years, at that point of time, my life actually the past was like a toilet bowl. It was really bad. So, I thought there was a time where I'm going to lose everything that I have, family and all. I was a lot of weird ideas were creeping around my mind. But somehow or other, things didn't work out as the way I was thinking. Prison at that point of time had changed. They were different. Officers were very interactive, and they saw that they could see what was going on in my mind, and they took time to sit down and spend time with me and listen to what I had to say, the fears of everything that's gone wrong. And from there, that's where my journey began, because back then in the outside world, it was always busy doing something. And here, at one point of time, I had a lot of time. I had time to rethink everything that I done wrong, and I had help from the authorities.
Okay. So there was that interaction, there was that personal human connection from the authorities there.
That is correct. I remember there's this particular officer, and he being a father, he sat me down. He said that, look, it's not the end of it. And he was actually talking to me like a father would talk to a son. And with the advice that he gave me and the steps and the measures that he took, it actually helped me to reconcile with my family.
Okay. And how did you find, after that you worked as a call center, what was your role?
At that point of time, I had an opportunity to work in a call center. It was a small one, and that was something that was new. And I've never worked in a call center before.
Did it surprise you that they had a call center within?
It shocked me. Okay. It shocked me. But I was given this opportunity. It was staring at my face, and I decided to take it. And the people in the call centers, the officers as well, they begin to see. And I remember one of them can say, hey, you know what? You do have a good talent in this field. And I saw that, hey, I actually like this job. And I gave all my heart and soul to it for the many years. And I began to spend time and improve my skills, read books, and people were spending time with me and helped me to improve my skill set. And I valued every moment. I took advantage of every day that I was there to improve myself.
Yeah. So the officers saw in you the potential to be a good call center sort of worker. So what kind of skills did you need to train in, did you have, and did you hone?
You'd be surprised at the kind of training that they provide is trainings that is very viable in today's marketplace. Problem solving, customer service, objection handlings. These are not just skills that you can apply in work. They're also something that I realized are life skills. Like I was calling 100 people, and 80% of them were rejecting me, not knowing that I'm actually learning perseverance. And we had clients who were really angry because something somewhere went wrong, and not knowing that I was learning to be patient. These are the little life skills I never had in life.
Yeah.
And these life skills carried me through as even today.
And not to mention communication skills, right? Being articulate and being able to read a situation, read the other person by their responses. Right. So very useful.
The wonderful part is it's not just about communication, it's about effective communication.
Right.
We can speak, but being in a conversation that's effective or something that I learned by being a call center agent.
All right. We're in conversation today with Anil David, who is the founder of Agape, Connecting People, a leading contact center services center. And if you'd like to join the conversation, please do. If you have a question, a thought, a reaction, a response, anything at all that you hear on air, do WhatsApp us at 963-11938. And as soon as it pops up on the screen, I'll try and read it out as soon as I can. Now, and armed with your experience and knowledge, Anil, you went on to start your own call center company after you were released, and you've gone on to do very, very well since then. Your stories even being featured in a video at this year's National Day Parade. And we'll talk about that, as well as Agape, in detail later. But first, let's talk about your earlier years, right? You were born in the late 60s. So what was it like growing up in Singapore at that time?
Born in 1968. You grew up in the kampong spirit, where there was a lot of trees, and you do all those things kids would do, and that was one of probably the best times of my life.
Which part of Singapore was that?
That was in Potong Pasir, and we grew up. I schooled in St Andrews, and that place was where we grew up. Life was different, but some or other that kind of got attached to me, and I didn't pursue my studies, and I just dropped out after secondary school. And even today, I've never pursued studies, but I self-taught myself with the many books that came along my life and tried to upgrade myself. That was my responsibility, and I played it forward in that.
Okay. All right. So were you a playful sort of kid?
Oh, you bet. Yes. We do all the mischief things that you could. Yeah. And probably, mom, I remember once my mom, I just told her I'm going down, and I came back 3 days later.
Oh my God.
And what I did is I was out with my friends, and we were climbing a mountain in Malaysia, in Mount Ophir.
3 days. How did you sustain yourself? Did you have a little backpack where brought you?
Oh yes. A few of us went together. But when I came back home, I mean, you can imagine what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I can imagine how irresistible it is to be a playful kid, especially when you're living in a kampong and there's so many things to do, so many things to climb and explore, right? Yes. And get lost in. So, what kind of household were you brought up in?
We were siblings. There were 6 of us, 3 brothers and 3 sisters.
Big families, that's quite
big
characteristic.
Family. Yeah. And, Dad was the single breadwinner. Mom was a housewife. She would just be there for us, cooking the foods and hearing us and shouting all over us. Mm-hmm. So we'll all be all around the place. And it was fun, actually. And some or other, it was good because we were always there together. And, everybody came back together. But today, there's a big comparison. You miss those days. But I guess that's the way it is.
Okay. In conversation today with Anil David, who is an ex-offender who, earned his stripes while doing his time and worked in the call center in prison. And he started his own call center company as well, called Agape, Connecting People, which is doing very, very well these days. It's 7 years in already, around there, right? And we'll continue to chat with Anil in just a short while and get him to share, some of his fondest memories of growing up here in Singapore, in a kampong, his biggest influences in his younger years, and some of the most powerful lessons that he learned as he was growing up that he still finds useful today. Special edition this whole of this week, actually, for National Day leading up to the 9th of August, where I speak to Singaporeans with very Singaporean stories here on CNA 938. On Singapore Stories this week, I chat with Singaporeans who have very Singaporean stories, of course, to share, passions to tell us about as well. And today is Anil David, who is the founder of Agape, Connecting People, a leading contact services center company. And we're chatting about his stories and his growing up years, growing up in a kampong in Potong Pasir and all that sort of thing as well, getting lost, running away from home for 3 days. And so what were some of your fondest memories of growing up, Anil?
The fondest memory was always about doing the mischief. In those days, we had in Potong Pasir area, there's a lot of this mango trees and rambutan trees. And one of the few things that we like to do, a few of us, we just go around looking at where there are rambutans training, climbing up the trees and getting chased by dogs, knowing the trees don't belong to you. Those little things that you don't get to see today. And those were the fondest memories. But I think the one of the most fondest memory that I had in my childhood days, I remember my father used to bring home on a Saturday sliced fruits. And that was the novelty. And everybody would look forward to him to bring these sliced fruits in the night on a Saturday. And whenever he comes, all of us will run to him. So one day, my father decided to buy us a color TV, a Satron. I remember a wooden Satron. That was the thing. And we used to watch the $6 Million Man. And when the TV came, my father used to come back with the fruits. No one would rush to the door anymore. Because now the TV was more important.
Okay.
And we remember about 2-3 weeks later, he just came and say, this is going. And then we realized that probably he realized that TV has taken his place. That was one thing that I've always remembered, that the value of the fruit, and we look forward to it, the TV took away what was important to my dad. And I realized that I always remember that story, and I kept it close to my heart. I always share it to those people that, is the TV more important?
Exactly.
Or the gift?
It's a very poignant story, actually, which is quite relevant today as well, if you think about it, right? Technology versus human connection and relationships, right? How do you strike that balance and which one's more important? Of course, we know, but very often we get carried away.
Yes.
Did you experience any hardship, though?
Yes, sir. We were not from a very wealthy family. There were hardships of 6 siblings. We didn't really... I guess things could have been better if we would have come to a different atmosphere of exposure in terms of it financially, but it was not the case. But we pulled through. We pulled through.
Yeah. So who or what were your biggest influences in your younger years?
My biggest influence was my elder sister. She was someone that had a really strong influence on my life. But as we were growing, when I hit about 12 years old, and she got married and she moved on, and somehow or other life became a little bit different. She was the one who would to discipline us, make us study. Only when she left, right, all those things that were missing, I guess I lost interest in studies, and it became just a bit difficult.
Okay. And when you were growing up and, into your teenage years as well, were there any sort of, powerful lessons that you remember that you learned, that you still find useful today?
Yes, I remember once my dad brought me out. He brought me out to the zoo because he had some friends. So he came out, as he was waiting, all right, he took off his T-shirt, he had a singlet, and he began to wipe the vehicle. And because he used to carry passengers around. So he told me this thing, no matter what, even a trishaw driver can tell you good advice. It's a question whether you want to listen or not. He said that, and I still remember this today. And it's a very valuable lesson for me. I remember that.
Yes, learning from your fellow human beings as well.
Yes.
So share with me about, when after you left the kampong, right? What sort of job?
After we leave the kampong,
lifestyle.
It was moving into a flat.
It was
and we stayed in
80s,
Eunos
90s,
Crescent.
is it?
That's right.
Okay.
It's in the 80s.
Okay.
We moved into Eunos.
Yeah.
It was a 3-room flat. It was a different thing. And life was no longer the same as it used to be. In the kampong, we interact, we communicate, we were fun bunch, loving people with our neighbors and all.
Yeah.
But once you went back to the flat, you lose all that. It's no longer that anymore. You didn't even know, so you were not so as close, as adventurous as you could have been in a kampong and then in the flat. It was a total different change.
Okay. And we're chatting today with Anil David, who is the founder of Agape, connecting people, now a leading call services center company. And we'll continue to chat with him and his Singapore story here on Singapore Stories, a special series this week leading up to National Day, where I chat with Singaporeans sharing their stories and passions. Coming up after the news, so in about 10 minutes' time, we'll continue to chat with Anil, find out more about his call center, Agape, what sort of people he hires, and how does he select and choose his employees? How did he get the funds? How did he get the business model right? Things like that as well. Agape connecting people, and also more about that video that he did, that he was part of, that is part of this year's National Day Parade 2019. I'm Eugene Low, and Singapore Stories continues here on CNA938 in about 10 minutes. Do stay with us. In the days leading up to National Day this Friday, it's a special editions, as it were, of Singapore Stories, where I chat with Singaporeans about their uniquely Singaporean tales, their backgrounds, experiences and histories, and what's shaped them into the people they are today. And today I'm speaking to 51-year-old Anil David, who was given the opportunity to work in a call center while he was doing time. And with all of the skills, many of them very useful to him, he found it. He was released and founded his own call center and found his calling, in a sense, as well, by setting up his own call center, Agape, connecting people, when he was released about 7 years ago. So let's continue to chat with Anil. Anil, so was it tough starting your own business when you came out?
Yes, starting a business like a call center, it was not easy road. It was tough. Never had a prior experience of running a business, and so you had to start from ground zero. And a lot of time reading and finding, and most importantly, I had three things that I kept in my mind very closely to my heart. One is that I began to surround myself with people who were good people who could influence me. And I decided to do one thing and one thing at a time, because in the past I was always doing many things, and therefore you don't get the best out of it. And the third one is I decided that it's not what others think of me, but what I think of myself. That's how I started. And I had the support of my wife. Very important. I think if she had not been there, it has been difficult to... But very interestingly, when I left the prison, right, I had only a secondary education. I was in my 40s. There's nothing much you can achieve with this kind of age and this kind of education background. But prison taught me to be resilient. Whatever I am today is from the many programs that were run in the prison, that I took this as an opportunity that was staring in my face, and I played it forward. When I came out, I decided to do this, and I realized that one of the biggest motivation that I had to do is that I want to do something that will make my daughters proud. And that was my biggest driver. And that's how this started. I knew that back in prison, there were so many intelligent people, street smart, using their skills for the wrong reasons. Then I was telling in my mind, if I could use these street smartness, convert into good call center skills, I think we can be a formidable call center. And today, we have a call center that runs in the men's prison, in the women's prison, and even in Tai Seng. And I think our clients are just amazed with the kind of productivity and quality. But very importantly, what's happening is the lives of the inmates, new life skills is being imputed through the work that they're doing for the next 2-3 years, day in, day out. Their minds are being transformed by the new skills. And it's very beneficial. Yes,
it's very powerful, right? When we have a focus and a vision, and we know we are doing good work that contributes to our family.
Yes,
so well-being and all that, and it has a future. We have prospects, right? That's a very powerful thing for any one of us, really. So you dove straight into setting up a business. How did you get the funds, and how did you do your planning and research for getting the business model right and all of that sort of thing?
Now, when I was out working, I was just working in a call center, just getting a normal salary and working it.
You started working in a call center
first? Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And I just needed some extra money on this. So what I decided, I went to Sim Lim Square. I remember I spent about $200 just to buy a small little equipment. So my first call center started at home. Okay. In the room, in the study room. After I finished work at 7 p.m. to 7 to 9, I would be calling clients for people who had hired me, and I'll be making appointments for them.
That's fascinating.
For the insurance. And, I was good at it, and that created some extra revenue for me. Now, the interesting part is when I was working in the call center, there was this gentleman. His name was Mr. Larry. He was the CEO of that company there. He took a liking in me, and he says, "I like your attitude." That's all he said. And we became friends, and he was always there to bring in books and guide me and teach me. And when I was released, somehow or other, we got connected again. And we had lunch and dinner a couple of times. And then, he asked me what I was doing, and I said, this is what I'm doing now. So about 3 months later, he came to my home. It was a Saturday at 4 o'clock, made him a cup of tea, and he said, you know what? I like your attitude, and I think I'm going to help you. And he just opened out and wrote a $20,000 check, and the company was formed, Agape Connecting People.
I see.
As someone whom I don't know,
Yeah.
Chinese men. I mean, they're not related by blood. And I find that, there was something that really changed my entire perception of a lot of preconceived ideas that I had.
Yeah.
And he was one of those that came into my life.
So what did you learn from that chapter in your life? Is it about, believing in yourself and just following your passion or your heart?
I learned something from this experience with Mr. Larry, that there are many good people in Singapore. He didn't judge me. He didn't see me as an ex-convict. He saw my attitude. And I learned the very important thing, that the only currency of trading today for any ex-offender or anyone who's physically challenged or who feels that he's out already is attitude. Attitude is a currency that is very powerful for trade right now. Your attitude will bring you a lot of places.
Yeah. And don't lose your trust in people, even in your darkest days, because there will be people who will be able and willing to help you and collaborate with you. So, what's the philosophy behind Agape? I mean, I know you hire ex-offenders, but is it 100% ex-offenders? Is that something that you...
No, we don't hire, like, for example, in the prison call center, yes, we hire those people who are serving in the men's and the women's prison. But outside in our call center in Tai Seng, we have a mix of non-offenders as well.
All right. Okay.
We find we also have single moms, physically challenged people. And I find that this group of people, though they may have a disability, but they are not disabled. They are very capable. And I've seen over the years something very different from them. They are very loyal.
Yes.
Because I find that they know they have lost a lot. And in the environment that we have, we've always been investing in an environment where actually allows people to grow.
Yeah.
It's not judgmental.
And you
it's
gave
like
them,
Eden.
and you gave them the opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And very often they are very determined as well to do well.
That's right.
In spite of their
because we people can actually climb and get promoted, and not because of their resume, it's because of their attitude, not because of their disability or their past.
Yes. So what do you look for in your workers, Anil? Is there something that you look for? What makes a good call center sort of like a worker?
A company is made up of people, and people are the one who makes the change. And each and every one that is in our company is important. Knowing them by name, remembering the simple things, and in our office itself, in Tai Seng office, the whole office has got just glasses. It's transparent model. We have one of the biggest influential in my life right now is probably my first client. He was the VP of StarHub. Today he's my CEO as well as my business partner. So he has influenced me a lot in nurturing me in my thoughts process and the way I'm supposed to conduct in the marketplace. But I think that the joy of seeing someone who has difficulty in coming into the marketplace, we have actually seen people grooming them from day one. And it takes a little bit time, but we are patient with them. And they come out strong, they come out better, and they really give us what is expected.
All right, wonderful. We're chatting today with Anil David, who is the founder of Agape, connecting people, call center services company. And if you'd like to join our conversation, please do. If you'd like to give a shout out to Anil, or any thoughts or response that you have to our conversation, please WhatsApp us 963-11938, and as soon as it pops up, I'll read it out as well here on Singapore Stories on CNA938. And Anil, your story is being featured in a video in Act 4 of this year's NDP 2019. So how did that come about?
Last year I got a call from the NDP committee asking that, hey, we would like to meet up with you, and they state the reason. And I met them from the NDP team as well as the army folks, and we had about an hour session of interaction. And then they asked that would I be able to interest to come forward on this. So I told them that I need to go back and check with my CEO as well, and as well as my family. But when everybody came in understanding and agreement, then we decided to move it forward.
Okay, so what's the reason that they, were considering you?
I think the reason is because maybe my past is a little bit.
Right. It's an inspirational,
quite an interesting one.
Yeah,
it probably brings a certain kind of inspiration to people. And one of the reasons that we actually agreed with it is because I'm just representing a group of people that are probably the inmate population and those people who are journeying with us to say that it's possible. It's possible to rise in this nation, in this country. I mean, I tell myself and I tell to whoever wants to hear, do you think an ex-offender at the age of 40, like myself, don't have a proper education, come this far? Hey, it happens in Singapore. It happened with me.
Yeah.
So I wasn't judged. I had opportunities just came along.
Yeah. Yeah. In a way, it's like it's the Singapore dream.
Yeah.
Right? This message of hope and inclusivity that we want to, get out to people out there as well. So what about you, Anil? What do you hope to, influence or impact the people that you work with and come across?
Today we have about easily employing about 180 people in total. The dream is to employ even triple the amount. And how do I do that? When I get more prospects, more business clients coming forward to us and want to use our services. And I think that very importantly mine is about impacting more life. But impacting more life means bigger clients. I mean, today I have clients like StarHub. They've been a wonderful bunch of people. They are really my kudos. They are the first client that opened doors for me, and clients like Courts. And they are just wonderful. Their whole ecosystem in their companies, I was blown that they are actually willing to walk with me and many other clients. So I'm just hoping that more people work with us in this journey so that we can impact more people, yet never compromising the client's service needs, productivity, or excellence.
I mean, if you have that very solid sort of integrity and sincerity in doing good work, people can see it and people will want to work with you. I think so. And, this year, Anil, you're 51.
Yes.
And Singapore is just a few years older than you. How has your experience of being a Singaporean kind of like developed over the years?
In the last 15 years or so, when I've seen in the darkest part of my life, I've seen that I've benefited a lot of it from what the nation has to give me, and I took it. And I'm moving forward with all that. I'm a beneficiary of the programs that I had in prison, and even today, as coming at this age, meeting good people and able to bring this vision forward. It speaks for itself.
And how much do you appreciate, being a Singaporean now?
Well, I tell my children, you will never have a place like this in Singapore. When you go out and you say you're going to come back 2 o'clock in the morning, and I say I can still sleep, the security is there. As a father, I know that I can still sleep and not be afraid. There's a lot of things that over here that we take it for granted. And I realize that you can't compare this to many other places.
And Anil, we've got a couple of messages coming in from WhatsApp, and we've got one that says, "Hi Anil, what is your advice to people who are lacking motivation due to their bad past? Also, how can organizations help Agape?" So, firstly, advice to people who are lacking motivation due to their past.
The biggest motivator is going to be yourself. I need to motivate myself, and that's very important. It starts with me. And secondly is surround yourself with good people who will really impact you and be teachable. And I think when you get these things right, you're able to come out of that defeatist mindset that you have. It comes with you. We need to be our biggest motivator. Depending on others is good, but we spend more time with ourselves than any other person.
Both ways. So inner as well as outer, the vibes from the people you surround yourself with as well. Right. We have another one who says, "Hi Anil." It's from Kelvin. Hi Kelvin. Kelvin says, "Anil, thank you for all that Agape stands for. I, for one, have benefited from this vision. Now, how do we pay it forward?"
Depends on where, Kevin, thanks for the question, how are you asking that question? If you want to play it forward, if you're an employer, when someone comes along your line that it's an ex-offender or a physically challenged or even a senior citizen, I think they may have certain challenges, but I think give them opportunities, hear them out, and come to an understanding that how it actually can play it forward. So it's all about giving opportunity to those that many people will say, no, this one leceh lah, don't want lah, you don't want to do that, and you can play it forward.
Thanks, Calvin, for the WhatsApp. Our number is 963-11938. You can join our conversation if you want to as well. And this one in from Bart, and his question for Anil is: you have impacted the lives of almost 200 individuals by giving them the kind of support that you received that turned your life around. And if you could turn back the clock, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Yes. Along this journey, I have hurt a couple of people, and I think that I wish I could undo it, and I have not spent much time with certain people that I'm supposed to. I guess I could have spent more time with them. These are the only regrets that I have.
Okay. All right. Let's get to Singapore and how much you love Singapore. What are the things you adore most about Singapore?
The safety, the opportunities that it's over here.
Yeah.
I'm going to just speak for myself.
Yes, personally, of course.
Because,
yes.
There's a lot of answers to this, but I'm just going to tell myself that why I feel that I feel proud to be a Singaporean today. Take it like this. At the age of 40, you're out of prison, secondary education. Today, you have a business that you're able to impact people, and there's good outcome of it. I ask myself, it happens in Singapore, it happened here, and there are opportunities over here. I learn not to be critical, but I learn to be objective. And I decide to I'm just happy. I'm proud to be a Singaporean, actually. Okay. And we'd like you to share your thoughts about Singapore as well by WhatsApping us at 963-11938. It's a special National Day series leading up to this Friday here on Singapore Stories and indeed the whole of nightlife. So do WhatsApp in 963-11938 and wax lyrical about Singapore. Tell me about how much you love being a Singaporean and also what you love most about Singapore as well. We have another one coming in. I think we can just squeeze this in as well. Hi, Anil. What is your advice to people who are lacking motivation due to their... that's what we've done before. The same person saying thanks for your advice, Anil. Welcome.
Coming back to the second part, how can other organizations help Agape?
Well, give us a call. We are looking for business opportunities. We are in a call center business. We run 24/7, and exploring new opportunities with clients is something that is always something that will actually expand our vision. Today we're impacting about so many people. We can triple, we can 5 times more, 10-fold more. It's all about growing the business. And this Friday is National Day, of course, 9th of August. How are you going to be celebrating it, Anil? I'm going to be going down with my family. And I'm going to go down with, even with my CEO, Joseph, he's my mentor.
You get seats because you were... Yeah, of course you do, right? You get places because you are featured in the video.
Yeah, so
okay.
2 families are going and we just decided to just go and enjoy the whole... I've never been to a National Day parade except in the Army days. As an audience,
as a spectator, never?
So it's going to be a thrill.
Yes, absolutely profound experience. We're just going to end off today with you sharing your birthday wish for Singapore on her 54th birthday.
I just wish Singapore will continue to be a country where race will never be an issue here, where we can still live together, respecting each other, and that's the only thing. It's something that's always been my prayer. That's always been that this is the fundamental, the most important thing, racial harmony.
All right. And Anil, obviously you are connecting very powerfully with our listeners as well because we've got so many WhatsApp messages coming in. And one of them coming from your family, I think. Hi, Daddy. Sushma and I are super proud of you.
Thank you.
Who's that?
It's my youngest daughter. She's 17.
Oh, okay. That's sweet. And hi, Anil. This one is just wanted to say Seema and me, Max, are proud of you and we're listening in now from Adelaide.
Okay.
So
Hi,
keep
Simo.
up the good work. And he says, Anil is my uncle-in-law, by the way. Thank you very much for writing in and WhatsApping in, Max. And this one as well, coming in from Edmund. Hi, Anil. Very glad to hear from you live at 938, CNA938 that is. And thank you very much for the inspiring sharing. Well done. Pay it forward and I will CTC you. Is that a sort of like an industry term? Oh,
yep.
Right.
Contact you
It's
soon.
an insider. I see. I'll CTC you on the business support. Edmund from AsTrans. Oh my. They just keep coming in.
Thank
and we
you.
do have time. So let's read them out. We love connecting with our listeners. So hi Anil, I'm Haslin, the fiancé of one of your employees, Lisa. So thank you for giving her the chance
Okay.
to show her potential and giving her another chance
You're
in
welcome.
life. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for your WhatsApps, and you can keep them coming. I'll continue to read them out later on in the show. We go on till midnight, of course, for Nightlife. In the meantime, thank you, Anil, very much for coming in.
Welcome.
Wonderful conversation,
Thank you.
inspiring story.
Sure.
Continue to do your good work.
Pleasure.
Anil David there, who is the founder of Agape, Connecting People, which is a leading contact service center company here on Singapore Stories. All of this week, it's a special National Day editions of Singapore Stories where we chat with Singaporeans about their unique backgrounds and histories, experiences, lessons and values here on Singapore Stories on CNA 938. I'm Eugene Low, and if you have a great story to share or know someone who does, email me at eugene@mediacorp.com.sg.